Hello, everyone. Welcome to our office hour today. So the purpose of today's office hour is pretty much to run through the task for the week, as we usually do. So the task for the week is to install and set up Flutter, install VS Code or Android Studio. If you noticed in the task, Android Studio, beside Android Studio, you would have seen that is preferable because it's a lot easier to set up especially those on Windows. It's easier, even Windows or Mac, it's easier to set up your Android emulator or your Android SDK and the likes using Android Studio than it is with just VS Code. So I'm hoping that at this point, everyone should have set up their devices, and hopefully there is no problem with that. Then also, you're expected to you're expected to take a screenshot of the result of Flutter Doctor in your terminal. So I'm just going to share my terminal now to show you what you're expected to see. Here is my terminal, okay, right there. So yeah, I'm going to share my terminal so you would see what was expected of you. And then yeah, then we'll go on to some other thing. So you're expected to run this. Oops, let me zoom. Okay, I'm not sure I can zoom in. I can enlarge this, I think. And let me see how it looks on YouTube. Okay, awesome. So you're expected to run this command. The purpose of Flutter Doctor is pretty much to let you know if you have properly set up your computer. If everything looks okay, if everything is green when you run Flutter Doctor, then that means you're good to go. It means everything is good, right? It's just as the command implies, it's a doctor. It lets you know the health of Flutter, your Flutter setup in your computer. So if everything is green like this, then that means you are good to go, right? Yeah, that means you're good to go. Then he also says to screenshot the demo Flutter app with a change in the color of the app bar. Okay, so for that one, you're expected to create a demo application. So as soon as you properly install Flutter and all that it comes with, there was an article that I wrote on it that you would have accessed on Google Docs that listed step by step all the things that you're expected to download. I went through the process. I mean, when I wrote down the article, I went through the process from scratch, step by step, just so that I can properly guide whoever wants to install Flutter for the first time to have a successful installation process. So the article should have been of help, I hope, to properly guide everyone in successfully installing Flutter on their computer. So now that we know that the health of Flutter on our computer is healthy, what we can do now is to create a Flutter application. So there is a command for that, which is Flutter create. in the case where you already maybe created a folder, like a dummy folder, say for example, so I'm going to go into Android Studio Projects, this folder now, just to show you the two ways in which we can create a Flutter app. So I'm going to go into Android Studio Project. Okay, let me share that part on my screen as well. So you'd see what I'm doing. Let me share. Where is it? Is it possible to share a window? I think that's possible. Let's see. Or you know what? Let's just share it one at a time. Okay, so say I create a new folder and call it test app. You should also note that there is a naming convention for Flutter applications, right? If you're naming your Flutter app, it has to start with, it has to be separated. The words inside of your app has to be separated with an underscore and not a full stop or a dash or semicolon. If you're going to separate the words within your Flutter app, you can use space or anything. It has to be an underscore. We could test out to see all these things. Yeah, we could do that. So we could totally test out. Let's create a test app with an underscore. Let's also create a test app with a dash. Then we can also create a test app just like so. Now let me share my terminal. And let's run through all of them. So yeah, one of the first ways in which we can create a Flutter app is by just using the Flutter create command followed by the name of the project. So test app 2. All right. So if I were to run this command, it's just going to run through the entire process of Flutter app creation. So it's done. Then if we were to go into the test app that has a dash and we try to, so if we're already inside of a project or inside of a folder and we want to create our Flutter app inside of that folder, we'll just do Flutter create and then a full stop indicating that it is inside of this folder that we want to create our Flutter app. So when we do that, now you see that it wasn't successful because it says test app is not a valid Dart package name. It's not part of the, it's not a right name to use when you're for a Flutter app. So it's definitely going to break. But if we were to move into test app, this field as well is not a valid package name, but let's clear that. So with this, and then we run the command, everything should work as it should. So the name you assign to your package or to your app, to your project, to your folder, if you're going to use the basic Flutter create command, you need to follow the naming convention that has been set for Flutter apps. So since we have created our Flutter application, we can just open VS Code. Let me share that too. So this is a sample Flutter app. Let's just go through very briefly what we have going on here. So yeah, this is a basic Flutter app and it comes with some existing folders and files and some packages as well. You can find all of your packages inside your Flutter application right here in the pubspec.yaml file. So when you create a Flutter app, you have installed the Cupertino icons, you have installed Flutter lints now. Then everything else you get to add that yourself, right? Then it also has a folder for running your application on the web, for running your application on a Mac OS if you're on a Mac, for running it on a Linux system if you're on Linux, for running on an iOS device and for an Android device. So remember, Flutter is a cross-platform framework, hence we can run our applications on various devices, and now all these other devices are now compatible with Flutter. So we have one code base and we have our app running on multiple platforms with no hassle. But the main folder inside of your Flutter application is the lib folder, the library folder. Every file inside of a library folder, every file that ends with .dot can be referred to as a library. So we have the option to hide certain libraries inside of our Flutter application using encapsulation. You know, if you, for example, like if you declare a class inside of your library folder with an underscore, then if you release that application as a package or something like that, it would not be accessible to the public. You know, the whole idea of encapsulation. Yeah, so every Dart file inside of the library folder is referred to as a library. So this is the demo Flutter application. We have something here that gives us like an overview of how best to use Flutter. You know, just in this file, we have state management, we have the different the two major types of widgets that we have in Flutter, which are the stateless and the stateful. We have some demonstration of key widgets in Flutter. It's just very short yet very descriptive of how to get started in Flutter, right? So let's run our demo app. Let me see, where's my emulator? Okay. So it's going to take a couple of seconds to run. Oops, I did it again. I forgot to zoom in. It's taking longer than usual. Okay, so we're done. Let me share that. Let me share the entire. Let me see. So you should be able to see my screen. Should be able to see the editor, and you should be able to see the emulator on the side. Let me see how that looks on YouTube. Okay, cool. So this is the demo Flutter app. On your own, you could actually just, I preferably, I like to take out all these comments, but you should read them. At least it gives you that overview of what it is that is going on the screen. You can just use that as a point of learning as well and make adjustments to the code as you might want, right? Use it as a testing point. And just so that you could have an understanding of what's going on, you're given a task to change the color of the app bar, which to some extent would help you to, at least you would be able to trace where you can do that, check out the properties of the app bar to be able to make that change. So to see all the properties that are available inside of a widget, you use your control key and spacebar. I think it's the same everywhere. I don't know. But I think it's the same everywhere. With control and space, you should see all the properties that are available inside of a widget. And the property we are looking for is this background color. In some cases, if you hover over the property, it would tell you what it's for and how to use it. So see here that this property fills the color, is the fill color to use for an app bar's material. And if null, it uses this default color. Else it would use the color that we have provided. So yeah, we want to change it to what will we use? Let's use blue-gray. And that's it. It changes the color of the app bar very simply. You could have also done the same, maybe replace the color of the floating action button that also has a background color that we could have used as well. It says sort child properties last in widget. Oh, okay. I think I should have explained that. So right now with whenever you create a Flutter app, you see that I think I mentioned it before that it comes with the Flutter lints package. The Flutter lints package, just as the text says here, it contains a set of recommended lints to encourage good coding practices. So in your code, it would warn you with this blue wavy lines underneath your code, letting you know that there's something like a warning or something, just to let you know that you're not following the right standard within your Flutter code. So you can use your I think on Windows it's Control and full stop. Then on Mac it is Command and full stop. When you do that, it highlights some quick fixes, some things you can do to fix the problem that is being highlighted. And in this case, this is all that's required to move the child property to the end of the arguments. So he's saying sort child properties last in widget instance creation, which is it wants this child property to be at the bottom and not just hanging in the middle. We want it to be the last thing that you assign a value to within the widget. So we can just fix that by moving the child property to the end of the list and we're good to go. So if we do this, the color of the floating icon button, floating action button, the color changes and it still maintains the desired result, the desired behavior of the demo Flutter app. Okay, so and that's it. The task for this week wasn't intense because I knew for sure that setting up was going to be a lot of work. The setting up Flutter or pretty much anything on a device for the first time is usually a chore. Hence why you were not given any insane task for the week alongside that hard work. So well done, guys, for successfully setting up your Flutter, successfully setting up Flutter on your computer. Well, that said, that's pretty much it. That's all that was expected of you this week. So what to do now? Tomorrow we're going to have a live session in that there's going to be a Zoom link that would be shared with everyone, and then you get to join the class live on Zoom and would have direct interaction. So come prepared with your questions, come prepared with anything that you'd want us to talk about. It would also be live streamed for those who would not get the chance to join. But if you do get the chance to join, please come prepared with your questions so that would have a very interesting interaction tomorrow at 5. So I'm looking forward to seeing you guys, talking with you all tomorrow. That said, do enjoy the rest of your day.